Welcome to a special edition of the Let's Talk Weekly podcast. Today we are discussing E3 2015. Our panel of video game experts include Leonard, DJ Reimei, Wade, PrideStark, and myself, David, Chancellor D. During our very candid and unbiased discussion of the Expo, we explore its highs and lows, discuss games that we're looking forward to playing later on this year, next year, and everything in between. From what companies did well, what they didn't do such a great job of, but overall, it was a great discussion, and we hope you all enjoy it. So we'll see you next time, and let us know what you think in the comments below. Later. Welcome to the Let's Talk Weekly podcast.
All I know, never mind. When we get to it, I'll say it.
What? Go ahead. What is it?
I really enjoyed PlayStation's all their announcements, pretty much, sorta. And yeah. I really enjoyed Xboxes, and I didn't even really watch Xbox, but what I saw, I enjoyed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I felt like Nintendo came in to play baseball with a wiffle bat.
Yeah.
Because I was like, man, this was so lackluster that it made me sad.
Well, the problem with Nintendo and Xbox, and PlayStation.
Before you go through all this, did we start yet?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you announce it or anything.
So. I did not. You know what? I should say. Let's go ahead. Let's say everybody knows who everybody is. I'm David. This is Wade, Leonard.
All right. Well, anyway, go on, Leonard. I'm sorry about that to interrupt you.
Well, a lot of people who talk about Nintendo fans. The big excuse was always there's nothing other than shooters to play on PlayStation and Xbox. But I'm when you've got Xbox and PlayStation really leading the pack when it comes to support of indie titles, and you've got games The Last Guardian about to come out, and JRPGs are coming back in a major way on PlayStation 4 and stuff like that. What with the return of all the heavy hitters, man. Final Fantasy, you got Kingdom Hearts, Square Enix. Not Square Enix, Star Ocean. All from just Square Enix, and then you got the Tales games coming out, and all of these things that people loved in the PS2 era are now seeing a huge return, to PlayStation. And so it's maybe if you could have said that about last generation, there was a point in last generation where there was a couple year gap where the only thing that really came out on 360 and PS3 were shooters, you know what I mean? And if it wasn't a first person shooter, it was a third person cover shooter or something with third person cover shooter elements. But it's when does that excuse stop being valid, because it's clear that isn't the case anymore. There are more, just in the time that I've owned PS4, I've owned one shooter, and I've had 12 games for it.
That's valid.
So it's you can't really continue to make that excuse. Well, not only that, but you can't continue to show E3s this. It kind of utilize that as the excuse. I read somewhere that they weren't very apologetic about the, way that they did it, because they were oh, we make great games. That's true, but it's what your fans want, man. Gotta cater to your fans more. That's what I really say about Nintendo.
No, yeah, I'd agree. Nintendo is very, I believe they're just very out of touch with everything. I've been saying that for like 2 years now, though.
Yeah, because I was watching their stream on Twitch. I was reading all the comments in real time, and I was like, yeah, nobody's happy about most of this stuff.
Oh no, that was so brutal.
It's like, man, because especially when
people wanted like, the new Zelda, they wanted like, stuff that they actually cared about, like.
Yeah, because that's all. When it was over and they were doing the Mario music videos, people were like, "No Pokemon, no Pokemon." I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess there's no Pokemon." Okay,
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I watched some of the Treehouse thing afterwards for like maybe an hour, and it was nice to see some of the games that they were showcasing. But for the most part, like I didn't think anybody really was happy. I mean, yeah, I'm interested in Star Fox just because I'm a fan of the series, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched Sony's press conference a couple of days ago on YouTube, and I'm really happy with what they did. And like The Last Guardian, like you said, Leonard, like that's gonna be good. And I think it was a game called Horizon Zero or something. I forgot.
Oh yeah, Horizon's gonna be incredible.
Yes.
Like that game looks fantastic. Like I'm blown away that the Killzone team made that because I mean I've never seen them make a third-person game, and then it looks like they're going to be making a third-person game. Their first third-person game is going to show itself off in a major way, and I'm always very weary about first-person shooters trying to make third-person games, because a lot of times it can kind of feel like they swung but missed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they haven't quite fleshed it out yet. But, I mean, Guerrilla Games looks like they're really about to make something special with it. Like, the idea of it is very imaginative and original as far as the environment and everything. I love the concept of, like, the mistakes we made kind of, like, wiping this out. And now, like, history has begun to repeat itself, but kind of the twist.
The one thing I'll say when you talked about Xbox earlier, like I watched theirs on TV, and I was impressed. Like I didn't really see them making too many blunders, I guess, as it was a few years ago. Like, I was happy to see about the whole backwards compatibility. I mean, although I'm not really a fan of Xbox, I was like, well, that's nice.
Yeah, but I also think people put too much stock in that. Like, a lot of people kind of like made that like, oh man, what is Sony gonna do now? They announced backwards compatibility. I'm like, well, don't get excited about old games. Like, it's cool that you can play your 360 titles, but one is emulation, which I've never been a fan of emulation. That's why when they released the 80 gig PS3 that was backwards compatible, I didn't care for it because it was an emulation of PS2 games. It wasn't a built-in PS2 like the 60 gig was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which means that it's bound to have some games that just do not run right. It's limited in the sense that anything that they plan on releasing a HD remake of, quote unquote, anything that they plan on doing that for on the 360 isn't going to be released or capable to play. So, you're going to have a bunch of games that, you can play, but every now and then you're going to be surprised with that one game that you just had never got to play on 360 and you can't because there's going to be a $60 remake version coming out that you're going to have to buy instead of the $15 regular version that you can get right now. And, if that's, your cup of tea and that's what you want to do, then that's fine. But, not everybody wants to do that.
Do you think that, well, let me ask, like in terms of Nintendo-wise, with Wii U, do you think they could do something like that to bring back GameCube games, or just put GameCube games like on the marketplace or the Wii
Well,
shop?
the Wii U is backwards compatible with the Wii, at least for now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
If the Wii was backwards compatible with the GameCube, so in a way, I mean, it's always been backwards compatible. PS4 is the only system that isn't at this point. And PlayStation doesn't really have any plans to do it either. So, I mean, they have PlayStation now. Yeah. They were like, just going to focus on making the PS4 awesome. We don't have to have backwards compatibility. And honestly, I mean, I feel like the people who really want to play their old games that bad shouldn't trade in their PS3. Like, I mean, just keep your PS3. I kept mine. I occasionally want to go back and play PS3 games, but, for the most part, I enjoy my PS4. There may even be a day where, in spite of everything, I might still get rid of it. Who knows?
True.
But, I think, like, a lot of people say that they're going to, go back and play games, but how often do you do that, especially when there's, these brand new experiences to, play and stuff.
Sure.
There'll eventually become a point where you've played everything that you wanted to play on PS3. So.
That's true. I mean, for the younger generation, yeah, they can go back and play stuff, but it's about moving forward, and that's something you and I talked about before.
Yeah.
But you're gonna get things really going, kind of keep a focus. Like, let's just kind of go down and look at some of the press conferences. Like, was it Bethesda was first, then it was the Xbox. So, as you said, you saw Bethesda. So, what were some of the highlights that you saw in their press conference?
Well, they showed a gameplay video of Doom 4, which looks incredible. Id Software is, in my opinion, the best first-person shooter developer. They know how to take the intensity of the environment and the feel of weapons and really make it feel like you have a certain weapon in your hand. Like when you have a shotgun, the way everything vibrates, how heavy it feels, everything is conveyed somehow in the visuals combined with your, control of the character and everything. They made Rage on PS3 and Xbox 360, which was kind of it was like a Borderlands or Fallout without as much customization. Wasteland, storyline game. You could drive around in these vehicles and you could go and explore caves and stuff and shoot people and stuff. And I mean, that was quite possibly the best first-person shooter gameplay on PS3. And so I'm excited for that. They announced Dishonored 2, which admittedly I haven't played much of Dishonored. Didn't really interest me when it came out. I know a lot of people really dug it. I didn't like the fact that it was apparently really short. But the trailer, yeah, exactly. But the trailer didn't show any gameplay, but, the cutscene that they showed was incredible looking. But, if we've learned anything from the past generation of gaming, is you can't really rely on the cutscenes anymore. They talked about Fallout Shelter, which is a mobile Fallout game. It's mostly just dealing with life in a bomb shelter or something. You and your character, you can go on little missions and find supplies, as well as interact with people. You can make friends, you can get married, you can have a kid, all kind of stuff. And it's all done in this
That sounds kind of awesome.
It's free mobile game. It's a 2D like side-scrolling mobile game, and it looks pretty cool. I mean, finally a Fallout game that looks like something, so I guess that's nice. And Fallout 4, of course, they spent like 30 minutes talking about different aspects of Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is going to sport a gun customization mode on top of course, your like regular person customization mode. It's going to be like the ability, I believe, to create houses and bases and stuff like that, and add little effects like lights and fireworks and all kind of stuff to the house. What else? I think those were the biggest, if not the only announcements that they really touched upon seriously. I think there's like some Fallout toys coming out, but for the most part, it was Fallout 4, Fallout Shelter, Doom, Dishonored, for the most part. So.
Yeah, I gotta say, when they started the Dishonored stuff, that's when I stopped watching it and started watching this guy playing this League of Legends game. So I kind of missed the rest of the Bethesda.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been a big fan of Fallout. With Fallout 3, I just really thought that they could have done better with that game. I mean, it's been regarded as one of the best games of the generation, but I think that there has to be more than just the concept of a game and like what it's trying to do. It needs to be executed properly, especially when you're thinking of a company as big as Bethesda. I mean, they have the resources to make an incredible game, and they just fall short like every time. And I mean, Fallout 4, while it does look considerably better, looks like it plays considerably better. There's still a lot of the same issues that I saw in 3 starting to show up in 4. So I have a concern with that, but I'm hoping for the best.
I gotta say, I enjoyed the first Fallout game, like way back in the day. But I enjoyed that game like I rented it and it was fun. And then I returned it and I never thought about it again.
Yeah.
So, I'm not a fanboy like some of these people. I remember when Fallout 3 was like announced. And I heard about Fallout 3 for the next like year and a half after that. And I was
really excited to play it. I was really excited to play it because, like I tell people, I liked Oblivion, even though Oblivion was technically, like, as far as, issues with the game, I mean, it was just as bad as Fallout was, but, everybody was like, oh man, Oblivion, but it's like guns and stuff. And, I gave Oblivion the benefit of the doubt. I mean, it was a launch title for Xbox 360. It was on PS3 later. And it was on PC. So, gave it the benefit of the doubt. It's 10 years old at this point. But the, Fallout, they had the exact same engine. And I had a really big problem with the engine that they used. Because and maybe they switched engines and maybe that made the game better now. But like the Gamebryo engine, which is what they used for Oblivion and Fallout and Skyrim, I just really didn't like. I do not like that engine. It's a very crappy engine. The only game I've seen that I thoroughly enjoyed on the Gamebryo engine was Catherine. Because Catherine is also made on a modified Gamebryo engine. And at first I was like, oh no, Catherine's made on Gamebryo, but it actually was an incredible game. So
yeah, it was really funny. I was trying to explain Catherine to a couple of my friends the other day. And I think I came across like I was talking about some kind of weird sex video game. When it's not about that at all, but
yeah,
it's hard to explain that game, man.
It is, man. It's one of those games that you just gotta kind of sit down, somebody in front of it, and just be like, "Yeah, I'll play this."
Yeah. I was like, and then you meet at the. He was like, "What is this, the Sims game?" I'm like, "No, it's not, man." Like, I don't know. What was next after Bethesda?
After Bethesda, it was Microsoft.
Okay, well, Microsoft, we already talked about that, basically.
Yeah, and then we kind of touched on Sony a little bit. No, actually, after Microsoft, it was EA. Actually.
Well, we can go into a little more detail with Microsoft, because Microsoft, they talked about Halo 5. They talked about Gears of War 4, which looks awesome. It looks like
Gears of War 4 looks wonderful. I am super excited. I will actually go over someone's house and beat that game.
Yeah, man. It looks like they're going back to the whole horror element that Gears of War 1 had.
Yeah, man.
And I was telling a friend of mine, because, he was a big Gears fan, and he was like, man, with 2 and 3, it just wasn't the same. And I was like, you got to be considerate of the characters in this. I mean, look at series like Resident Evil, like Gears, and stuff like that. Reason why Silent Hill, I think, stays scary in a lot of their games is because you always deal with a different protagonist. Do you really expect, Chris Redfield to be scared of zombies in the 6th installment of his series? You know what I mean?
For real.
You know what I'm saying? He's like the size of 2 men, and he has muscles as big as my head. And, it's like a zombie comes up to him, and he can punch them so hard that they explode. So, I mean, you don't really have to be afraid of things like that. I mean, look at Marcus Phoenix, man. Marcus Phoenix was a badass. I mean, you have an assault rifle with a chainsaw attached to it as your basic weapon. Are you really going to be that afraid of somebody who's your size also shooting at you? Not really that big. Not really that big a deal after the first time you kind of encounter them. So.
Agreed.
Gears looks incredible. The HoloLens, I can't wait to see some really creative uses for the HoloLens.
Yeah, me too.
I really want to see I always want to see horror in games like that. I mean, Morpheus and HoloLens. I'm just waiting for the horror game to come out.
True.
But what else did they talk about? Oh, Rise of Tomb Raider looks fantastic.
Yeah, as I kind of dubbed it, Lara Croft versus Avalanche.
I mean, they are definitely taking cues from a lot of the adventure games that are out now. I mean, most notably Uncharted. Uncharted is really big on the set pieces with you climbing this mountain and everything starts to blow up, and now you're constantly about to die for the next 5 minutes. It definitely takes those visual cues from Uncharted, which is kind of flattering since Uncharted took those cues from Tomb Raider in the first place.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
But that game was incredible. That's actually one of the games that I have to play. Tomb Raider is one of my favorite games, period. So, I mean, I'm going to be playing that game, whether I need to have an Xbox or I go over someone's house. I mean, I'm probably going to own it before I even get an Xbox because I have to have it.
It's going to be on PlayStation, isn't it?
They said it's a timed release for Xbox, but I honestly don't know what that means. If they announce it for Xbox, then I'll just trade in my PS4. I'll just trade in my Xbox version to get it for PlayStation. But I'm going to play it when it comes out on Xbox. I've already made the decision. that I will be playing that game at launch.
Yeah,
But I'm not sure if there's anything else that I can remember that they really touched on.
There was that the rare replay game.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is quite the package for $30.
Oh man, yeah.
Yes.
Leonard and I actually talked about that while they were showing it.
Okay.
Yeah, that is like the package, man. I mean, Jet Force Gemini, all the Banjo-Kazooies, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Perfect Dark, like just those games alone
I
are
was gonna
worth
say,
it.
if you stopped right where you're at right now, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you got a host of other games that just, I mean, you got Killer Instinct Gold in there. Like, it's just, it's a great combination of games. And yeah, if I'm owning an Xbox One, I'm owning that game. Like, it's just, you know, your nostalgia, man, your childhood, man, is right there. Rare used to make some of the best games. I wish that they could have put Donkey Kong Country on there, and it would have been the best, you know, collection. Period.
Yeah, they were saying they wanted to put Donkey Kong Country and Diddy Kong Racing on it, and I've got to say, as somebody who still owns my N64, every once in a while I will throw Diddy Kong Racing on and play it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually like Diddy Kong Racing better than every Mario Kart to ever come out.
Oh yeah, man. Diddy Kong
I
Racing.
agree.
Oh man, when they put it on DS, oh my god,
I didn't know that.
man, everybody forgot about Mario Kart. Like even when Mario Kart eventually came out on DS, man, like.
And let's see, another. Was it Rainbow Six Siege, and then the Division? I think the Division looks interesting.
Oh, you talking about? Are you talking about Ubisoft?
Show a little bit of it during Microsoft's press conference, and I guess they went more into it in Ubisoft. But yeah, let's move on to EA.
All right, so EA, I actually didn't see too much of. I saw. What did I see? I saw. Of course, Mirror's Edge 2, which I mean that is my most anticipated
Don't
game.
get me started.
Whenever it comes out, it's going to be day one purchase. I'm going to play that game, and now that they've announced that it's open world,
Oh my god, I know.
just play that. I'm just going to play Mirror's Edge. So I really don't want anything important to come out when Mirror's Edge comes out because I'm not going to play it until I've done everything in Mirror's Edge.
Star Wars Battlefront.
Yes.
Incredible.
Was-
Looks incredible.
They showed pre-alpha gameplay and it looked really, really good. From somebody who's not a Star Wars fan, I have to say that I actually would probably sit down and play it with some people because it looked really awesome.
Yeah, and it looks like they're bringing back the Battlefront 2 thing where certain people can play as the Jedi or the Sith, depending on certain situations in the battle. So that's really cool because that was always fun on Star Wars Battlefront 2. Getting enough points to finally spawn as a Jedi was incredible.
And that was always fun. I feel like they made the Jedi like too overpowered though.
Of course.
Back then.
But I mean,
Of course.
from what I know about the Star Wars universe, the Jedi are overpowered, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, all of them with their manipulation of the Force and everything is just, it really gets like to some anime levels of ridiculousness with what they're capable of doing.
Yeah.
With the Force. So, I mean, it all makes sense.
Okay.
It all makes sense. Yeah.
Let's see. They talked about Mass Effect coming back.
I'm excited for
Mass
that one.
Effect Andromeda is looking incredible, like just from the teaser trailer. But I mean, I am certain that it's probably going to look just as good as that trailer.
Yeah.
You know, team that makes Mass Effect. I mean, they are BioWare. They know exactly what they're doing with their games. Dragon Age Inquisition was absolutely incredible, deserved everything it got, all of the praise. And, this is going to be the first game that they make that isn't also on PS3. So I'm really looking forward to finally seeing their next gen prowess at work. Like,
yeah,
I was really, really looking forward to it, and I can't wait to finally see, like, yes, this is completely for PS4. Even though I'll probably play it on Xbox One because I played Mass Effect on Xbox. So.
The one I was surprised about that actually looked really put together well was the Need for Speed that's coming out in November.
Okay, so what did they talk about with the Need for Speed? Because I actually didn't see anything on that yet.
I didn't actually pay much attention to what they were saying about it, but I did watch like the gameplay video and stuff they had of it, and it looked really clean. And when I was younger, I played Need for Speed because a lot of my friends played all the racing games like Gran Turismo and shit growing up. And Need for Speed was one of like the staple things that happened in the background of whatever frat house or whatever, wherever I was at the time when I was younger. So we played a lot of Need for Speed. Actually, my frat house used to have a Need for Speed arcade machine, like the ones you sit down in.
Mm-hmm.
So like we used to have one of those in our house. And so like we played a ton of Need for Speed. And the fact that like they kind of like took a lot of the older stuff for it and like made it bigger, and like it says that it has like the most customization ever seen for the franchise in this game, and there's gonna be like tons of like different ways to like each car is gonna feel different when you drift it and stuff, because they're like really going in and making it like you're driving like the actual car that's in the game. And like they went like way out of their way to make sure that the customization is going to be like unique depending on how you do it. And if you customize a car wrong, it's not going to run right. So I thought that was very interesting.
That's really cool.
That like people who understand how cars work are actually going to be better at the game than people who don't.
Well, and that's one thing that I do like about racing games in general, is that they've all kind of started to really adopt the whole simulator aspect. I mean, arcade racing is dope, you know what I mean? But, there's a lot of car enthusiasts that, only buy certain games, for their console, like only buy racing games for their console, because, they go all out, they get the wheel, they, get the game, and they, go through and they try to top themselves on every course and play online and stuff. That's why I really, really loved Gran Turismo 5. I didn't play 6, but Gran Turismo 5 completely built itself to basically, if you wanted this to be the only game you played, it could be.
Gran Turismo 5 was wonderful.
Yeah, Gran Turismo 6, I mean, I'm hoping that it was similar, but really the best racing game to me right now is actually Forza. Forza, Turn 10, the people that make Forza, like they've just consistently topped themselves every single time. I believe Forza 5 or Forza 6 is about to come out next, and it's just every single installment has been incredible. Like it's at first it wasn't as good as Gran Turismo, and then it started to get itself to a point where people had to take it seriously. Yeah. And now it's forced to be reckoned with. I mean, if Gran Turismo missteps at all, which I believe was the case with Gran Turismo 6, especially since they made the interesting choice to put it on PS3 and not PS4. Forza is the best looking racing game right now. I mean, I haven't played Project Cars, but at least when Forza came out, it was the best game.
Yeah.
Racing wise. So, when you have fierce competition like that, you really can't.
No, yeah. I never actually got to play Forza, but I've never heard anything bad about the damn game. So.
Yeah, I mean,
So
if you think about Gran Turismo, basically just Gran Turismo on Xbox, and I mean the controller for the Xbox is more geared to racing games to me. I've always said that Xbox games are good for shooters and racing games. Like, they're great for those. Just the whole placement of the controller, the size of the controller. They're just great for those kind of games. But yeah, so E3, yeah, I mean, EA had a great conference. I mean, a lot of games that
they had a
people
good
weren't
conference, and
expecting.
then they had a good conference, but then they had like this weird down thing where they were talking about what's the damn game called? Unravel.
Oh, that was interesting.
The Yarn game, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Some people gave them a little shit for it, and I was like, man, I feel like every time one of these systems announces this Yarn-looking game, I feel like I'm the only one that is hyped for it. Because for some reason, that Yarn art style really like resonates with like the artist part of me. And I don't know what it is about it, but I'm like, yo, this is so dope. I just want to play those games. And I guess like the Kirby one was really cool, and a lesser version of that would be like Little Big Planet. That's not Yarn, but like I really liked the art style for Little Big Planet, and I don't know, man. Those games always really hit me kind of cool, and I was like, man, if I had an Xbox, I'd probably play Unravel because that shit looks adorable.
Yeah, Unravel looked cool to me. Yeah, I'm liking what they're doing with it. I honestly wish it was a game like Little Big Planet. Like Little Big Planet, a character like the Unravel would fit right in Little Big Planet, man. Like being able to like throw it across things, add on to stuff. He can pull things with his yarn. I think that's so cool. As far as like the Kirby's Epic Yarn and Yoshi Soul and stuff. I don't know. I mean, eventually, it didn't really do much for me. I mean, as long as Kirby's Epic Yarn is like a Kirby, then I'll play it. You know what I mean? I keep them like doing every Kirby, but making Kirby's like the Rainbow Curse. Is just I want to play that. I don't want to play that game. I'd rather play a regular game, but I get Rainbow Curse. So I don't know. I mean, I did just play Triple Deluxe, which was incredible. So I guess that's okay. But one thing that I love about Unravel is the backgrounds are absolutely incredible. The how he has to go in the street and I gotta dodge this car, it's about to run me over, or I gotta grab this bird because this bird's gonna fly me somewhere, and it's all it all looks like a real world with this yarn just running around in it, running around in a real world. They showed that chipmunk, man. That was the most real looking.
Oh yeah, it
chipmunk.
Was.
Yeah.
With Unravel, man. So yeah, and I really respect EA for showing a game like that, man. Amongst all of their heavy hitter games and stuff, man, like the AAA summer blockbuster titles and stuff. You take the time out to show a game like Unravel. I think that's really awesome.
What is
the next
thing?
The next one was Ubisoft.
Ubisoft was really a surprise one for me because I had no idea what Ubisoft was going to show. I mean, one thing I love about Ubisoft is that they always introduce a brand new game. And
yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, Watch Dogs was not a good game per se. It was great in concept, but it wasn't. The execution just wasn't there. But For Honor, man, that game looks so cool.
Yeah.
Like it's like third person action MOBA.
Yeah, man, and I will be able to tell you all about it. Because literally an hour after Leonard had told me about this game, I got invited to the beta for it.
Oh, nice.
What system is it for?
Mine's going to be on the computer.
Okay.
Oh, but it's for, they ask, PlayStation, Xbox, or the computer, so I believe it's on all of them.
Yeah, do you have a PlayStation beta?
No. They asked you which one you want. I said computer.
Oh, okay.
So they said, when they release the beta, I'll be in the first wave. And I was like, yeah. And I looked at it and I was like, yo, let me tell you, I'm about to show you all what Vikings are.
Yeah, man.
I'm so excited for that.
I'm really excited, and I hope that they do it in such a way that it can be like some tournament type stuff, because that is a game I can get behind, man. Like, just, you and like 3 friends against another 4 people, just fighting like little minions and building yourself up, and then meeting people on the battlefield, like League of Legends, man. Like person warrior combat.
It sounds like it could be a decent it sounds like it has a potential to do that, and I feel like if they did it just right, it could be it could be an esport, or be in that realm of things where you have tournaments and it's whatever, but it really will decide, what will decide that is if they're like, oh yeah, we got 5 maps, or oh yeah, we got you know what I mean, and how the point system goes, and how how balanced it is, because from what I saw in the gameplay, personally, I would say that Samurai Assassin was a lot better than those Knights Templar.
Yeah.
And that was just watching it, and I think maybe that was part of how what they have already put together in the game, because the game is still in alpha stages of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'm really excited for the game, and I'm really excited to get my hands on it.
Yeah, we'll see. The Xbox One owners already have Smite, so they've been playing that kind of game on Xbox already, but PS4 doesn't have anything like that. So I'm looking forward to finally having something and but Ubisoft also talked about Rainbow Six Siege, The Division,
South Park.
Yeah, South Park, yeah.
Oh, yes, man. Park was one of the best RPGs last year. Out of nowhere, was one of the best RPGs.
So out of nowhere, though. Come on.
If you are a South Park fan at all, South Park: The Stick of Truth was a love letter to the last 15, 20 years of the series. And just, it was literally an episode. It was like a season of South Park in the game. And, I put so much time into this game. It's a 10-hour game, but, I played it almost nonstop until I finished it. And
I'm so excited that the next one's going to be like a superhero version.
I know, man. Like, I mean,
oh my god, man, I'm so excited for that.
yeah, man. The humor was absolutely perfect. I mean, every act of the show is in this game, and I was just blown away with Stick of Truth. This new one, I mean, I know it's going to exceed my expectations. I just know it. Like, I just know it's going to, because if it's anything like Stick of Truth, it's going to be an amazing game. Like, all it has to do is just be as good as the Stick of Truth. That's it. Like, and with the actual creators of South Park on it, like, I mean, it's going to be, you know. So, yeah, I just can't wait. I cannot wait for that game. Like, I might play the Stick of Truth again just to you know, get ready for that game. Like, I might play through it again because, yeah, that game is just incredible.
Yeah.
What else did they show? They showed the trailer for the for the guy's sister, Evie, that she's going to be playable in Assassin's Creed. And honestly, man, I wish they'll just let me pick her at the beginning and just let me play with her. Like,
yeah,
I was like, man, I would rather play with her the entire game. They answered the guy. Like,
yeah,
this would only be the second. By the time it comes out, it'll only be the second Assassin's Creed with a female lead, because they do have another one coming out. It's the 2.5D one in China, which is going to have a female lead as well. But you know, Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation was the first handheld, like, full-on Assassin's Creed game that was like, you know, oh, this is an original story with an original assassin.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was a great game. It was definitely, like, very conscious of, like, what it was dealing with, like, you know, New Orleans and, like, you know, people from different countries coming to settle there, and, like, you know, with the fact that she was black, but, you know, didn't belong to a black family, and all of those things just was really, really, like, well written. And that's one thing I like about Assassin's Creed. I mean, most of the time their stories are pretty well written, but they always get the atmosphere of the games right every time. Like,
yeah,
and it's because while they come out every year, they do work like 2 or 3 years on each game. So it's kind of the way that you have to do a yearly release, is that you got to have a team working on each game, like, you know, prior to that year before or whatever. So, you know, I think London is going to be interesting. If it's anywhere as open as Unity was, I'm going to love it, because Unity just allowed you to do so much cool stuff, especially online with friends. But Syndicate is not going to be online, so.
Yeah. David, what did you think, man? We haven't heard from you about, like, any of these topics. So
it's fine. I'm just enjoying listening. But actually, you know, I'm like, some of the games that we talked about, like Star Wars and Battlefront, like that one, and we'll get to Sony later. But, like, that's kind of making me feel like I'm leaning toward now wanting to get a PS4.
Yeah, man.
And, like, and while we're on the topic of Ubisoft, like, Ghost Recon, like Wildlands, like, that looks interesting to me. Like, I mean, I've never really played a Ghost Recon game before, but, you know, I'm willing to give, like, new things a try.
Oh yeah, man. I actually missed that trailer.
Which one?
This Recon trailer.
It was the big reveal at the end, I think.
Yeah, I have liked all of the Ghost Recon games. I've liked all of them, so looking forward to that. What I would have loved, though, I was really hoping for, but I didn't get it, was a Splinter Cell announcement for PS4. Like, I'm hoping that's here. Is Splinter Cell. Love Splinter Cell. That's one of my favorite games from Ubisoft. They get the spy thing and they get it right. They get it right. Splinter Cell Blacklist was absolutely wonderful. Like brutal, yet elegant, man, with the way that you planned out your mission and weapons and the way that you can use different weapons together. It was just such a well put together game, man. It really felt like effortless with how everything just kind of worked together to make that game perfect. There was nothing wrong with that game. It looked a little better, but
Splinter Cell was one of Tabby's favorites too.
Yeah, man. I really wish that Splinter Cell Conviction would have been multi-platform. 360's Splinter Cell Conviction was a great game. It featured an older Sam Fisher, so he wasn't capable of doing quite as much in the older games, but they made him look a little younger in Blacklist, but he was still around the same age. Like he just kind of looked a little more built. Like so, it might have taken place after Conviction, but he was a little more capable in Blacklist. And I mean, it was. I said Blacklist. I love the way that they tackled it. Like I think that's the way you tackle a Splinter Cell game. You let me have a hub world. And you let me go on missions. Just let me do. I can choose to do story missions. I can do a host of side missions. I can do them over again and increase my rating. Everything I do gives me money to use towards upgrading my stuff. And I was like, that's how you do a Splinter Cell game. They started doing that with Hitman. And I love that about Hitman. Like those kind of games where it's like, oh, I'm gonna on a mission, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna get I'm going to bring these, pieces of equipment or these weapons, I think that that's an effective way to go about making those kind of games.
I agree with that.
Like, because it gives you kind of control of and it kind of puts you in that of like, yeah, I'm, this like badass spy that. Yeah, they're sending me on a mission. You know what I mean? I'm going to bring what I want to bring, dress the way I want to dress.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens in the future, though.
Where are we heading next after?
After Ubisoft was Sony.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, Sony, I think, ended Monday. Yeah, they did. I'm looking at the list on IGN right now. I'm like, okay.
Did we not do Nintendo at all?
Nope, because they came after Sony.
They were the last, second to last conference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because after Nintendo was
they did have the World Championships where they talked about Earthbound Beginnings and Ryu and Roy, but
yeah, okay, now I remember.
Okay,
but
not to mention Ubisoft also got points for having two beautiful black women on stage at the same time. Angela Bassett and Aisha Tyler.
Yeah.
On stage at the same time. I just needed to say that because that was awesome. They lost points for letting Jason Derulo perform on stage because that was terrible.
That was so bad.
I digress.
There were a lot of people that were like, get him off the stage. That was so funny.
Like, he did so bad. Like, he did worse than Usher did at the Xbox thing a couple years ago when he performed Scream. Like, Jason Derulo, like he wasn't like Ice JJ Fish bad or anything, but he was pretty bad. But anyway, so yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
So the next one, on Sony.
Yeah, Sony, like, they started out with The Last Guardian, which was like well worth the wait, I think.
Well, finally seeing gameplay after 8 years, which is nice. But I mean, that game had been plagued with so much like just development issues and money, and it was in development hell for a long time. Like nobody was even worth it. But they were like, oh, it's not canceled. And now finally able to go full force on the game. And I believe this game, after 8 years, still looks better than everything out right now. It was absolutely incredible. Like, I can't wait, man. Like, Team Ico, if this game is great, if this game is a great game, then Team Ico is 3 for 3, man. Like, and it'll allow, hopefully, you know, them to kind of get that clout in PlayStation that they need. You know, to be like, okay, we need to make this game. We need these resources to do that.
All right. So they also had Horizon, and I thought that looked hot.
Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn. That sold me on their show. Like, okay, yeah, I want to see more stuff like this.
And we did.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And we did. And like, I mean, that Hitman announcement, Final Fantasy VII Remake. What else did we get?
Uncharted 4.
Yo, let me tell you what we got that sucked. The worst announcement they made was World of Final Fantasy.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
that was so horribly out of place that I was like, yo, could we just like not have this announcement and pretend like y'all did amazing? like, nah, man, they were swinging 10 out of 10. They were like, boom, home run, crack. You know what I mean? Like,
Final Fantasy.
And then they were like, let us show you this world of Final Fantasy. And all I could think was, man, Nintendo has infiltrated Sony. I made memes about it. Like,
I feel like World of Final Fantasy was a package deal with the 7 remake. Like,
yeah,
they were like, yo, we're gonna give you 7 first, and possibly only 7 first. I mean, only 7 on PS4, because they keep saying first, but they haven't said anything about the Xbox version. Like, this entire 3. I was like, man, I honestly feel like it's only going to be on PS4. But whatever. I feel like it was a package deal. They were like, okay, we'll give you the 7 remake, but you gotta take World of Final Fantasy.
And they were like, can we negotiate for anything else? And they were like, no. And they were like, all right, get Waluigi to go up there and talk about it. And that is what fucking happened.
I did see your meme about that. Okay, I saw that.
Yeah, man, that dude got up there, and I literally said to Leonard, I was like, yo, why is Waluigi up here in the Sony thing talking about this? And then, like, the dude had, like, all the inflections and even did that. Like, I was like, because like they cut it off. The translator, like at one point, the translator wasn't even translating for us. It was just him talking in Japanese, and he literally was like, he probably said something like, "And now watch the video," and then he said, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, man. Like, World of Final Fantasy, I don't know. It might end up being like a cool Vita game, since it's on Vita. I can't see myself playing it on PS4, not when like there's 3 better Final Fantasy games on Vita. Or, you know what, with 14, 15, and 7 gonna be, I was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Probably not gonna play that on an actual full console.
Yeah.
What else talk about?
There was the Disney Infinity 3.0 thing, Star Wars.
I said,
yo,
I was like,
let me tell you,
heard the Star Wars song, and then got like instantly disappointed when it was Disney Infinity.
I think 8 people were clapping after they did that.
Yeah, I agree.
People were like cheering. They were like, oh my god, Star Wars. Ah. And then fucking the Disney thing came on, and they were like, ah. Like, that's... Man, it sounded like when you beat somebody in Smash Brothers and the characters clapping afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, it was so bad. You could tell that only like 4 people were excited for this.
But like I said, the biggest shocker of Sony's E is Shenmue 3.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah,
have no idea. I was joking about it before. I had heard like rumors before the Sony conference, but for it to actually happen, and I mean it is happening as of yesterday afternoon. It was 3 million funded.
Oh, wow.
So it's on track to not only be funded like with everything they want for it, but it's on track to be the most funded thing on Kickstarter.
How much were they asking for?
They only asked for 2 million.
Oh.
It was at 3 yesterday, and it made 2 million overnight, the first night.
Okay.
So I mean, it's people really want Shenmue 3. Like, people
yeah.
Like it was a revolutionary title, man. Like, you know, the full 3D, like with the faces, you know, carefully sculpted, and you know, it had the QTEs, the first game to have like QTEs in it. You know, regular adventure like slash RPG kind of game. And then, you know, when you get into fights, it was like, you know, virtual fighter kind of like fight system. It was just, everything was perfect about this game, you know, for, you know, considering for Dreamcast, of course. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, this is going to be incredible. I cannot wait for Shenmue 3. Like, it's one of those series that just deserves a conclusion. It deserves that third game, and I'm glad everybody agrees. You know, even if it's not the best game ever, the fact that they finally got to finish it it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. Because I mean, Sega is not the best developer in the world, so.
There was one more. There was one more thing they announced that I thought looked really cool.
Besides Uncharted 4?
Was it No Man's Sky?
Yes, that was nice.
Yeah, No Man's Sky, they have went out and said that, you know, this game is impossible to find every planet on it.
Yeah.
They said there's multiple lifetimes worth of planets. Have an entire server of planets.
Yeah.
And then every time a new person creates an account with No Man's Sky, there's a new planet created randomly.
That was wonderful.
Okay.
So, like, the idea of just being able to hop in your ship and just explore is incredible. Like, it's those kind of games where if you really just need to get away, it's really the perfect description of that game, the getaway game, you know, because you can walk around on like planet and then you can hop back in your ship and be in a different place.
Yeah, man. And I remember when they talked about that, like when they were first starting to like kind of come up with it, and they said that, and I was like, man, my skeptic is that like, are they gonna like rehash the same exact planet over and over again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that is my only skepticism of this thing.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like it was very, very ambitious, but it's really good to see that, you know, everything's paying off. So yeah, I mean, Sony, like I said, Sony hasn't had a great E3. They had a really satisfying E3. A lot of people were like, after the Microsoft, they were like, oh man, what's Sony going to do? They had the HoloLens, backwards compatibility. And Sony talked about video games for a straight hour, like almost an hour and a half. They talked about video games, went back to what people want. which is games. People want great games.
Yeah, man.
And a lot of these companies, it's like they forget that that's the case. You know, people want great game more than anything else.
I think the next one, if we're done with Sony, was Nintendo. Although we kind of talked about Nintendo earlier.
I could talk about everything that Nintendo announced the whole week and sum it up with like the word meh. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I got on their stream late, and I was like, hey, I caught the end of Star Fox Zero, and I was like, okay, I still kind of want it, but that's like, and then Mario Maker, that's about it. Oh,
I'm actually really looking forward to Mario Maker.
I'm looking forward to Mario Maker, but on the same token, like all right, I'm gonna give Nintendo like a little bit of credit. They do Nintendo Directs like what, every friggin' month?
Yeah.
So like, all right, I get that they don't have a lot of stuff to show us, you know? That's like wonderful. But this is E3. Like, this is a special thing. Like if Nintendo is going to show up the way they did for this E3, I feel like they don't even really need to be there. They should just do Nintendo Directs, like, and ignore E3 because, like, I feel like that's what they did, man. Like, I feel like they showed up. They were like, "Yeah, let's have our, World Championship thing, and yeah." And then let's have Reggie come up and play, Smash Brothers against somebody and fail horribly. And that kind of made me feel some kind of way when I found out that Reggie sucked completely at the video game. And like I don't know. That makes me feel kind of awkward, and to some extent when he knew he was coming to do it, he couldn't even dude didn't even know how to jump when he first got the controller. I don't know about you guys, that makes me feel some sort of way.
Yeah.
Like, you're the creator of Nintendo. I understand you're very, very busy. I understand, you're the kingpin of Nintendo North America. But you couldn't take 3 minutes out of your day to at least know what the controls are?
Yeah,
you could at least learn a couple attacks.
Like, he picked Ryu and, continually killed himself.
Oh, man.
And that was, kind of my concern, because, they made that whole video about how, you're going to play against Reggie, and he, was training for the championship.
Yeah.
And, I thought that was interesting.
So, what day was the championship? Because I missed it.
Well, it was on Sunday.
Okay, yeah, I missed that whole
I had to think about it.
Okay. Yeah, I had to think about it too. I was like, the first day, maybe?
Yeah, it was on Sunday before the Bethesda conference, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw that thing you shared yesterday, the guy told Reggie that he sucked, and he's like, well, you play Smash Brothers for 16 hours a day, but I run a company for 16 hours a day. It's like, okay.
Yeah. But you run the company that created this video game. You're telling me that you're trying to be this hands-on, very out there, face of a company, and one of your biggest selling titles, you can't even know the control scheme for? I really, really, almost take offense to that as... I was a Nintendo fan growing up. I believe almost all of us were.
Yeah. And
I might have played Sony games a lot as through everything, and I did everything. But I still own a Wii U. I play Smash. I played the new Donkey Kong games and stuff like that. I still played Nintendo games. And even if I was to exclude Pokemon, I still played Nintendo games. And the head of the company, it just really, shows how unattached they are to it. I think that it's it's a good metaphor for how unattached Nintendo is from its own community at this point. To show that the head of the company doesn't even know how to use the controller of the game of the system they created. Like, there's a lack of love there. And for them to come to E3 and have such a poor showing, I mean, I literally can only think of, other than the Star Fox game, they showed so many games that people booed. People literally were like, nah, I can't sit through this anymore, I'm leaving. They lost thousands of viewers while I watched them show that Metroid Prime thing.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Like, they lost thousands of viewers when they were showing that other game, Leonard. Well, I was telling you about it.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei X Fire Emblem.
Yes, they lost thousands of viewers showing that. They lost like what did they show that was amazing? They like one of their biggest announcements was Mario Ultimate Tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on. Like I feel some kind of way. Then they announced Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, and that's just a big money grab. Mario and Luigi Paper Jam looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. That looked kind of interesting.
Yeah, I wanted to play that. Yeah.
Really, one of the most exciting things they announced was the Nier project, and they don't even have a working title for that game. And that wasn't even them, right? That was PS4. Shit. I lopped that into my Nintendo thing, so it made me feel better.
Yeah.
But no, but like really, it was just Star Fox. Like Nintendo brought nothing with them. Like, how are you going to show up to E3 and have nothing to show for yourselves? And then release statements saying, "Did we win E3 the first day?" Like, yeah. I feel disappointed, and I actually feel like they disrespected their entire community.
It's a real concern, man. If they don't really shape up, it's gonna be a real concern.
Yeah. And like they've been releasing like weird little things, saying like they released that fun fact that if Nintendo had a deficit of like 100,000 a year, they still would be a company until 2050 or something like that, right?
Yep. They said they could report losses every year for the next 40-something years and still have money until then. So, that goes to wonder why doesn't, some of this money go into really putting themselves on par with these other companies. I mean, like I've always said, PS4 era Nintendo system during the actual PS4 era would be incredible, but at the way it's going, it seems like, we're going to get a PS4 era Nintendo system when, Yeah. It's like lazy, or you just, what?
I don't know, but it makes me, like I said, it literally makes me feel almost disrespected as a fan of Nintendo, that they do not care about us so much.
Yeah. Or at least not those opinions we have.
Yeah. For them to literally just be yeah, we're obviously not listening to you guys, but to take it a further one and say we're obviously not caring about the stuff we're making because we're releasing those things, we're showing nothing the first day and then releasing statements like, did we already win E3 because we gave you Ryan? That just disrespects that's bad sportsmanship. I'm sorry. That's horrifying. No, you didn't win shit. Let's be real here.
But we had there was two more press conferences. There was Square Enix, and then there was PC Gaming Show, but they don't have anything listed for PC Gaming Show, but there was Square Enix.
Square Enix.
And I'm seeing that the Star Ocean, Rise of Tomb Raider.
Oh yes.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Star Ocean. Yes. Star Ocean, baby. That's my favorite JRPG on the PS1 was Star Ocean Second Story. Actually picked that game up because Final Fantasy VIII wasn't out yet, and ended up liking it way more. Star Ocean 3, funny story about Star Ocean 3 is that when Square Enix became Square Enix, Enix had already developed Star Ocean 3. And when Square Enix became Square Enix from, merging Squaresoft with Enix, Star Ocean 3 was the game that got pushed back, like, almost 2 years. And it went from being a game that was ahead of its time to being dated. And it kind of sucked. But Star Ocean 3 was an incredible game. Still like 2, as far as the entire feel of 2, a little better. But overall, great game. 4 was the reason I bought a 360, and I didn't buy it on 360 and bought it for PS3. It's funny. But I'm ecstatic about Star Ocean 5.
Star Ocean is very exciting. I remember when they were announcing that, I was like, because at first we were both like, yo, if this is Star Ocean, this is about to be so exciting.
Yeah, like, I've always loved Star Ocean. Always.
Yeah.
It is one of those games like Tales where, like, I have not played a Tales game that 100% blew me away.
Yeah.
But I've played a lot of Tales games that were immensely satisfying. And that's where I am with Star Ocean. Like, Star Ocean just does it right for me. It does it right more than it does it wrong. Like,
yeah.
And I can respect that more than games that have to try to blow you away. I can respect that a lot more within video games. And a lot of my favorite games are games that aren't particularly spectacular, but they get the job done. They achieve what they set out to achieve and are just hella fun during the entire process. So, I can't wait for that game. Square Enix, man, they had a pretty, as far as just the sheer amount of games that they did present at E3, I thought it was interesting that they didn't talk about 15 at all during Sony or Square Enix's press conference. They had pictures and little clips, but like they didn't actually talk about 15 much.
Well, that's because I don't know.
I mean, we've seen more than enough.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna be like, well, that's because really we've seen more than they need to show us.
But like, if you look at other companies, man, I mean, they beat the crap out of their games. Like, just like, oh man, we know that The Last of Us is about to come out, but we're gonna show you video and everything that Sony goes through until The Last of Us comes out. Like, Uncharted 4 is going to be shown probably 2 or 3 more times before the game comes out. Like,
true.
There's gonna be some like crazy gameplay. I mean, there was 7 minutes of it to conclude Sony's press conference, which I thought was a bad choice. Not because Uncharted 4 was a bad game, because Uncharted 4 is an incredible game. And it's going to blow a lot of games out of the water when it comes out. But you know that with Uncharted.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a surprise for an Uncharted game to be visually spectacular. It's going to be funny. It's going to be enjoyable. Like, it's going to be a wild ride. Like, when you play it, you're going to love it. Like, people who dislike Uncharted, I'm just like, well, you must not like those kind of movies or games, because, I mean, if you do, then Uncharted is right there. It's right up your alley.
Yeah,
like,
for real.
Isn't much about Uncharted that's done wrong. So it's a solid game that, like, I mean, like, it's not overrated, like, either. It's just it's that damn good. Like, Naughty Dog went from, like, you got to respect that come up, man. They went from Crash Bandicoot to, like, Uncharted, man. Like,
yeah,
like, that's ridiculous. Like, if you can't respect that, it's like, man, that's crazy, you know? But yeah, no Final Fantasy like info. I mean, the Kingdom Hearts gameplay was awesome, of course. Like, was so excited for that. The Just Cause 3 is going to be so fun, just like 2 was. Like, oh my god, Just Cause is one of the most fun games ever, man. Like, if you're, it's made for those people who, you know, only play Grand Theft Auto to like blow stuff up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like the epitome of that. It's everything that Grand Theft Auto kind of wishes it could do with it. Like, I mean, the amount of damage and chaos that you accumulate in Just Cause is encouraged. Like, in a mission, they don't just want you to shoot somebody or steal some documents. They want you to completely raze the base to the ground. And there's no like amount of fun that compares to like setting up a bunch of bombs at the top of a building and then having to just skydive off the top of it and then turn the camera around and watch the entire thing go up in flames, like right behind you, while you just fall from the sky into the ocean. Like, it is one of the coolest things in the world. And now they're adding like the wingsuit. Oh my god, I can't wait for that game. Like, I'm going to do so much unnecessary mayhem.
Yeah.
In Just Cause.
But yeah, man.
So I mean, it's really like I'm satisfied, man. I'm satisfied with just about everything I saw at E3, man.
This leads me to like, I guess like my last question for both of you is like, was E3 2015 like worth the wait?
I mean, yeah, it was. Like, I heard everything about everything that I was interested in hearing. Like, it wasn't like last year where I really just felt like, oh yeah, I heard about some cool things, but you know, it was mostly just like, you know, the big budget titles that everybody already knew about, and just like, you know, shooter gameplay, and that's about it. Like, I really wasn't into last year at E3, man. Like, they really lost me last year at E3 when all they talked about with Mirror's Edge 2 was just like a bunch of guys like showing over like some wireframe like movement. Like,
yeah.
And
I gotta say, that was horrible. Never mind. Go on.
Yeah, I was just like, you lost me. I was like, there's not even real gameplay to show of this game. So I was like, nah, there's no trailer or nothing. So I'm just happy after 2 years, I finally got like more info on these games that were announced 2 years ago.
So is Mirror's Edge 2, like, is it a sequel or is it a prequel?
They're saying it's neither a reboot or a prequel, but I feel like it's a prequel.
Okay.
Called Mirror's Edge Catalyst. It's probably going to take place before the events of Mirror's Edge. I'm not sure if it's going to lead up to the events of the first Mirror's Edge, but I know that it at least covers a younger Faith. And it's talking about, like, you know, how she became the person she was in the first Mirror's Edge, but I don't think it particularly leads up to it. My biggest thing is that they've completely taken out gunplay from Mirror's Edge. A lot of people complained that she didn't use guns well. And I was like, well, you're not supposed to use guns in Mirror's Edge. So I'm glad that they didn't confirm my fears of like, oh, we added gunplay elements and like multiplayer shooting elements.
Yeah, oh my god, I would have been so mad.
I would have probably not got the game. if they did that. But like they did exactly the opposite. Took guns completely out. You can't even pick up guns in Mirror's Edge Catalyst, and I was just like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted. And the fact that it's open world, that you actually just pick missions and stuff as you go, and more of the world unlocks the more missions you do. I was like, that is just like, this is perfect. Like Mirror's Edge, if all of that is executed properly, this game is perfect for me. Like, I still occasionally go and play Mirror's Edge's time trial. Like, but one thing I've always wanted was to just be able to run around in the city of Mirror's Edge. Like, I've always wanted to just do that. Like, not have to, like, worry about, like, oh, this level's about to be over. Like, I really just wanted to be able to, like, cut off the music and just run around in the world. I'm so glad they're doing that finally.
Wait, what about you?
So here's my thing. I was not looking forward to E3 this year because last year sucked. And really, Nintendo has shown me just about everything they possibly could in the Direct. And, I kind of keep a tab on what Sony does. I don't really care for Microsoft. And what it comes down to is, like I say every time we have one of these interviews about video games, I always kind of gauge things. I'm like, would I rather play that game than League of Legends? And as far as I can tell, last year it was a no. Like I can literally say since E3 last year till E3 this year, I think I only purchased Smash Brothers. I mean, I don't have a PlayStation 4, but I never felt the need to go get it until now. This E3 made me want to go buy a PS4, and I'm going to. By December, I will own a PS4. And congrats to them. They completely, blew me out of the water from where I thought was going to happen. I never expected any of this, like to the point where I thought that I would want a PS4. They also, one thing we didn't talk about was the new Rock Band game and the new Guitar Hero games.
Oh, yeah.
And, how exciting is that? I'm freaking excited for those games. The
ecstatic
fact that you can
for
download
Rock
your
Band.
own music into the game and play your own tracks, yo, I'm there. I'm in.
I am ecstatic for the new Rock Band and the new Guitar Hero. Like, every game that I love is coming back out. Like,
Exactly.
Rock Band, Guitar Hero, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5
Rare.
is coming out. The Rare games, Mirror's Edge, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts. Like, what is there not to like? My high school self, it would die. My high school self would be in a hospital, like, dying right now.
Yeah.
All of this was announced. I would have had a heart attack.
I'm 100% in. And because of that, yeah, man, I have to say, they did a great job. Nintendo let me down, but
all they needed to announce was like a Wii U Pokemon, and I would have blown myself away.
Or even any new Pokemon. Like if they were like, "Yo, it's Pokemon Stadium U," I'd have been like, "Ah, let's do this."
Yeah, or like honestly,
or even just talk. Go on.
Honestly, like if they had just like went and given me like new Pokemon title, but like my dream game, and I mean, it seems like game companies have been actually, well, except for Nintendo and like Capcom, I guess, but it seems like these game companies actually have been trying to satisfy people. So
yeah,
I'm really hoping that we get a Pokemon game that allows you to go to different continents again. Like I really am hoping for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I was thoroughly impressed. I have not been impressed with E3 since the Kingdom Hearts announcement last 2 years or 2 or 3 years ago. It was 100% worth it.
But yeah, I'm definitely on board now. Like I said, I've talked all about how much I think Nintendo let me down. I don't feel like we need to go into that any further.
No.
Other than the fact that Reggie just got on Twitter here and started talking about how his colleague saying sorry was dumb and inappropriate, and I'm like, man, now you just going against your own company? That's fucked.
Kingpin, man.
Like, I don't know what's going on.
Kingpin, man.
Yeah.
He's gonna handle them.
But
he's gonna be like, they're no longer with the company.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Like that's my thoughts on the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you two for coming on today and talking about E3 2015.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
If y'all want to like plug anything, if y'all want people to come talk to you all online about your thoughts or no?
If anybody wants to try and defend Nintendo to me, you can find me at PrideStark ENT, and I will explain to you why you're completely wrong.
All right. What about you, Leonard?
Yeah, you can find me DJ Reimei on SoundCloud, DJ _ Reimei on Twitter, DJ Reimei on YouTube. Follow my page on Facebook, same name. That's about it.
All right. Well,
I'm gonna talk about whatever.
Cool. All right. Well, thank y'all. Have a great day.
No problem.